I have been with my girlfriend now for 4 years, and our relationship has had its share of highs and lows. But lately, it's been all lows. She did me wrong, and I tried to forgive her. But at the end of the day, I felt like I wasted 4 years of my life. Let me start by saying that I would like to remain anonymous, but I hope my story will teach others some life lessons. We started dating during college. I still remember how we met at a college rave party. She was the hot brunette, twerking in the middle of the dance floor with some of her friends. I was the drunk college frat boy, looking to party my ass off every weekend. I remember how I approached her from behind on the dance floor, gyrating my hips on her behind. I didn't think I would have done that without the liquid confidence. Later that night, when the club lights came on, I isolated her from her friends and took her home. It was a one-night stand. I didn't even get her number. After that night, 2 weekends later, I met her at another club. This time, we exchanged numbers and met up for a coffee at the campus. From then on, we started dating. We would go clubbing 3 days a week. It was definitely difficult for me to keep up because I was an engineering major, while she was a psychology major. However, when I got to my senior year, I couldn't party as often as I was because my grades were suffering. So I was only going out once every week. Once every week turned to once every other week, till when I could only attend special events like concerts and etc. Throughout this period, my now girlfriend continues to go out 3 times a week. It was all fun back then, and it didn't come across my mind that she could have a one-night stand with anybody else, just like she did with me. I guess I was naive. I loved her energy. I loved that she was always down to party whenever. Back then, I liked having that sort of stuff around me. It all changed. After I graduated, I couldn't find an engineering job because I didn't have an internship when I was still in school. During my years in school, while others were searching for internship, I was busy partying, missing out the opportunity to score an internship that would have given me some entry-level job experience. After a year of unemployment, I felt like I had to make some radical changes in my life. I stopped drinking, going out to bars and clubs, and I started studying and visiting every career fair around my area so I could land a job. Luckily, a year and a half after graduating, I finally landed a job. My girlfriend graduated as well and got a job as a social worker. Our relationship started to suffer since I slowly started tapping the brakes on the party lifestyle, and I now have a real job with a deadline and could make life-changing decisions on my job. My girlfriend, on the other hand, continued to live the sorority lifestyle like she didn't get enough in college. Even after she graduated and got a job, she started partying with her girlfriends more than usual. She would come home late and drunk some nights, and we would argue about her lifestyle and how she needed to grow up. She would tell me I was overreacting and I was becoming a boring boyfriend because I chose not to party hard with her, like when we were back in undergrad. I told her we have overgrown that phase and it's time we face maturity, which would also help our relationship. I have no problem going out occasionally, but when it gets excessive, more than twice a week, every single week, I think it becomes reckless, in my opinion. Furthermore, she was pressuring me to take our relationship to the next level. She wanted me to propose to her and wanted to have kids, yet she wouldn't stop partying like she did in college. We are now responsible adults, and I didn't think a wife material should be partying that often. So I was holding off on proposing to her because of her immaturity. Instead of her changing her ways, she went from one bad habit to another, from alcohol to dope. I didn't actually see her do it. I smelt it on her, and I also found paraphernalia in her possession. I confronted her, and she said somebody put it there, and it didn't belong to her. She would reek of alcohol and smell of all type of foreign substance, like a walking chemical lab. I told her that she has gone too far. My girlfriend happens to be one of those people that never gain a lot of weight. Despite all the abuse she puts on her body, she still looks as hot as ever, so she was able to play off this college lifestyle. I would tell her that she needs to speak with a therapist, and she would be dismissive about it. She would say it's a phase and that she will grow out of it. Her favorite counter-argument was, if a guy does it, it's not a problem. He's just being a guy. But if a female party like a rock star, then society doesn't accept. That argument didn't make any sense because she's comparing herself to guys that frequent the party scene. And I would tell her that I want a girlfriend, not a bottle rat, and I don't care about society and its norms. Was I being irrational for asking her to clean up her act? Since she moved in with me after graduating, she has never contributed to paying the bills. I haven't asked her for it, but it would be nice for her to offer, instead of blowing her money on clothes and designer stuff and traveling from one concert to the other. After dating for 4 years, she has been pressuring me to marry her. I gave her a condition to marry her, that if she stopped partying and started some treatment for addiction, then I would make my commitment to her. She eventually accepted because she saw that some of her friends were getting married and she wanted to start a family. She stopped partying for 5 months or so, went to AA. She really looked like she was making progress. Then her mom started having some medical problems and couldn't move around well, so she became her primary caregiver and would stay with her some nights. One day I was at the grocery store and I saw her mom at the store shopping. Mind you, this was the woman that my girlfriend told me that she had limited mobility. I couldn't imagine how someone could blatantly lie about their mother in such a manner. I knew she was up to her old tricks and haven't stopped partying. So that evening, I followed her when she told me that she was going to take care of her mom. She had no idea I was following her. She went to one of her friend's place instead of her mom's, and I managed to stay out of sight outside her homegirl's apartment. A few hours later, she came out with 3 other friends, obviously drunk, and they got into the car and drove away. I stayed close behind her. They stopped by a club in downtown and parked their car. I had problems finding a parking spot, so I paid for valet parking when I couldn't find a free parking spot. Unfortunately, I lost track of them for what seemed like an hour, so I went searching for them. There were a lot of clubs in that area, so I stood in line at 2 clubs, and when I got in, she wasn't there. I thought I had lost her and that I should call it a night, but I decided to try one more club before going home. I couldn't wait in line, so I bribed the bouncer to let me into the club so I wouldn't have to wait in line. When I went into the club, I saw my girlfriend in her short tight dress grinding next to a guy that I don't even know. Anybody watching could clearly see her dress was so short her underwear was visible. On top of that, this stranger had his hands all over her, almost like I did the very first night I met her. I stood there, not believing what I was seeing. My eyes weren't deceiving me. She was twerking on this guy, his hands squeezing on her bottom, and her dumb friends cheering her on. The club was packed, so I just stood there and took pictures without them noticing me. After they were done dancing, they went to their VIP booth in the club. It appears that these guys booked a VIP section, and my girlfriend and her friends were their appetizers. So she was at the VIP section chatting up this guy, so he was rubbing his hands all over her. I was totally disgusted as she continued to cozy up to this guy. I was fuming standing there in the background. He attempted to kiss her and she pulled away, and he attempted to kiss her again. Then I lost it. I went straight to the VIP section and forcefully shoved my girl by the arms, leading her out of the VIP. As I was about to drag her away, the guy that she was messing around with tried to stop me by placing his hands on me and trying to separate me from my girlfriend. On impulse, I punched him across the face, causing him to fall in the center of the VIP, spilling all the bottles. His 2 friends noticed what happened and joined in the fight. In a very short period, I found myself fighting 2 guys, while the original guy was still laying on the floor and out of the fight. The other 2 guys and I started throwing punches. It was chaotic, like a tornado, very confusing. I was just throwing punches, and at some point, I even connected on some innocent bystanders. I haven't been in a bar fight before, but I thought I was doing pretty well, considering the odds, until the bouncers joined in. I am not sure, but I think there was 3 security guards. Before I knew it, I was being violently dragged out of the club. I was led outside, where 2 sheriffs were waiting to handcuff me outside the club. I was then handcuffed and shoved into the back of the police cruiser. In what seemed like a blink of an eye, I went from taking pictures of my girlfriend in compromising positions to getting dragged and handcuffed. This was definitely not how I planned to end my night. I couldn't find my cell phone and my watch, and my clothes were all torn. While sitting in the back of the cruiser, I realized how much I have effed up. I could be charged with assault and have a criminal record. That night, I spent the night at the county till my girlfriend came and bailed me out the following day. After she bailed me out, I refused to speak to her as we were coming out of the county jail with her beside me. She was begging and pleading, asking for forgiveness, and I refused to speak to her. I thought I lost my phone that night. Luckily, I had my wallet and keys, so I got a taxi as my girlfriend continued to beg me to come with her to her car so we could go home, but I didn't want anything to do with her. I got home before my girlfriend did and started packing my stuff. When she arrived home, I was in the process of packing my stuff. We started a huge argument. She kept saying that I was overreacting and she didn't cheat on me, and all she did was just dance. It was a heated argument. I was tired and frustrated. I told her that I lost my phone and they may have told my car already, all because she lied that she was going to her mom's house, but instead she went clubbing and drinking alcohol. She responded that she was able to retrieve my phone and she used my extra keys to pick up my car. That calmed me down a little. I stopped packing her stuff. I was tired and exhausted and hungry. I haven't slept since or eaten anything, plus I stunk. So I went and took a shower and went straight to bed. I woke up because I was very hungry and my girlfriend had already cooked some things for me to eat. I was still angry at her, but not like when I came out of jail. I ate what she cooked as she apologized for her lies and deceit. She told me that she never cheated on me and that she was just trying to party and have fun and that she was going through a lot of stress and that was an outlet for her. She promised to stop going out. I asked her why she lied about her mother and used her as an excuse, and she apologized, saying that she had no rights to do it. Over the next few weeks, she would apologize profusely, being on her best behavior, bringing me lunch at work, and she was indeed attending AA because I would verify it, and she promised that she would disassociate with her friends that pulls her back to that lifestyle. She stopped drinking, and within a short period, became almost a completely different person. I still wasn't sure of this sudden transformation. However, I couldn't be entirely dismissal of her, since I had no evidence of her cheating, only circumstantial evidence. I decided to give reconciliation a chance. I finally forgave her because I saw clear evidence that she was following through with all the boundaries that I have asked of her. It was a difficult decision to accept her back, but I still loved her, and we have been together for 4 years. I thought now that her skeleton were out, maybe I could mold her into a better person and she could become the perfect girlfriend. I started to believe in her transformation. Maybe she wouldn't do it again. Maybe she was now a different person. Really, I knew deep down things weren't going to be the same, but I just wanted to give her a chance and see how things would change. So we got back together, and true to her promise, my girlfriend stopped her excessive partying. She stopped drinking, and we only went to parties together when we were invited. 3 months after I caught her in the club, grinding on a stranger, she started acting strange again. She was feeling like a caged animal and took her frustration on me. She would do things like question me on almost everything. It was like she flipped the table on me and was acting like I was the one that was twerking on a stranger. What a mind job. All of a sudden, she would question me what I was doing and why I came from work late. I go to the store and she would try to see my phone to know if I got a woman's number on it. Although I have already graduated college, I was taking classes for my upcoming professional engineering exam so I could get an engineering certification and work on government projects. When I go to class and come back, she would accuse me of cheating when I was in class. I would tell her that there are no women in my professional engineering class, and she would say that there must be women on my way to class. She was acting insane. She just wanted to be difficult. She would say that I could have taken online classes instead and take care of my school needs during the day instead of going to class at 7 p.m. She goes through my phone a little more than she used to, and she would ask me who the female names were and where I met them. I think at this point she must have memorized some names because she would ask me who some certain names were if I deleted my chats. Very unnecessary questions and quite frankly intrusive of my privacy with no regards of my space any longer. According to her, I was out hooking up with girls anytime I step out the door. This insecure girl would go through the shopping items I bought and would ask questions like, who did I buy glasses for? Saying things like, I must have bought that for a girl. I would tell her that I was just sick and tired of the accusation, and she would respond that it was how I treated her and would tell me that she's giving me a taste of my medicine. I realized maybe she was feeling more than insecure and unfortunately trying to transfer her insecurity to me. What an irony. The cheater was feeling insecure. I forgave her from the club incident, but in this moment, I can't help but feel amused of the extent at which she was trying to go to prove that I'm equally cheating on her. She wanted to find something in me that would prove that I'm equally compromised morally. I am still struggling to move past her previous transgression, and I am still on the fence on forgiving her. However, they say that suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. I was getting irritated by this new attitude, and it made me question why I accepted her back in the first place. At this point, I think the trust in our relationship has gone way far down, and I just don't know how to approach our relationship anymore. Relationship should be about growth, but the regression in our relationship bound was a steep slope and kept sliding down. I dislike waking up sad, and it seems like I can't find happiness with her anymore. Our relationship was just dead, and I kept looking for a reason to hang instead of moving on. Is it still worth it to salvage this relationship? Well, my decision wasn't rushed. After enough self-reflection, I decided the answer to my question was no, no. The relationship wasn't worth being saved. No, I couldn't trust my girl. And no, I wasn't ready to move forward with this relationship. I decided if I wanted to give her a temporary peace in our relationship. One night we spoke about it, trying to brainstorm on how we could improve our relationship. My girlfriend confessed that she was getting frustrated because I haven't kept my end of the deal. She said that I promised her that if she cleaned up herself, I would marry her, but yet I have not committed to her. I agreed with her, but when I was alone with my thoughts, I knew she was pressuring and manipulating me. I felt like her attitude lately was planning for this moment, and she knew that I was a problem solver and I would try to find a solution. I wanted to break up with her, but I was angry at how she tried to manipulate me after my patience and everything that I have been through on her account. Then I decided to lead her to think that I was going to get engaged to her. So I tried to test her by asking her questions like what her ring size was. Her face would brighten up when I asked her what her dream romantic getaway destination was for honeymoon. Suddenly, she stopped becoming suspicious of me when she thought I was going to propose to her. She was so sure that I was finally ready to propose to her, and this bought me enough time to get some peace without her usual nagging and interrogation. I told her that we needed to make an expensive dinner date and set up a date to have it. The build up to the evening is almost certain to make her think that I would be proposing. I told her I had a big surprise news for her and I would like to tell her at dinner. She was excited. I even overheard her telling her friend, the same shameless friend that she told me that she had cut out of her life. I didn't want to come back to the same apartment with her when we break up. The lease to my apartment has already expired, so I was paying month to month. I wouldn't be charged for breaking my lease if I moved out of my apartment. I went and found another apartment to move my things into. I scheduled a moving service to help move my things on a Saturday while I was out with my girlfriend. They should be done around 9 p.m. from 12 noon to 9 p.m. They have already visited my apartment beforehand and they knew what to move. That Saturday, I gave the keys to my apartment to the moving service people. After I told them what to move, obviously without my girlfriend's knowledge, the moving service would arrive at noon. So I planned a trip to an amusement park and a romantic dinner as the main event. Everything was rosy and peaches. When we arrived at the dinner date, we sat on the table and ordered some meal. After eating, I called the waiter. I paid for the meals and drinks. I looked across the table and my girlfriend looked very happy. We vibed very well and I had built up this anticipation like I was going to propose. I felt bad about the entire thing and thought I was being too dramatic, but I couldn't go back now. The movers are already moving my things while I was sitting there. So when the time came, I checked my watch and I knew that I was ready. So I simply broke the news to her that we were breaking up. She had this look on her face like I just poured red wine on her wedding dress. She couldn't believe it. Her high spirits went low in an instant. When she asked for an explanation, I simply said our time has run out. I stood up from the table and left her looking stunned, blocked her off completely on my phone, and now I am doing better mentally. Some relationships in our lives are not just worth the hassle. I am glad I finally took out the garbage. Even though it took me 4 years, I realized the poison that was slowly killing me was my girlfriend. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up for the algorithm to promote my video. Thank you and have a wonderful day.